It's Wednesday morning, and we're pleased to have with us the mayor of Ashland, Steve Gilmore. Good to see you.
Good morning, Jim.
How are you?
I'm great.
Everything going okay?
Everything is pretty quiet,
Yeah.
with a few announcements going on, and the front page, kind of continuing here. It's some disappointing things happening. We just keep looking for some kind of silver lining in there somewhere.
Wasn't about a year or so, maybe a couple of years ago, that things looked really great. And now, all of a sudden, Bellefonte Hospital is closing. That's going to be the end of April, for sure now.
Mm-hmm.
What we thought was good news with the blast furnace now looks like maybe not going to happen down there. It might still, but probably not. And who knows? I mean, both sides of the Brady dispute now are saying that they're still 100% behind getting the plant open, but you have a big dispute going on in management. That's never good.
Right. Well, let's talk about Cleveland Cliffs first, quickly.
Yeah.
Really, disappointing, but as we talk about here all the time, and as a leader of the city, I got to stay positive about everything.
Sure.
So talking about them, I have sent letters up there. There's a regional labor rep who I've gotten to know when I was mayor before. Great guy. He covers 2 or 3 states, and he actually got pretty aggressive and was able to drop into Cleveland and talk to the labor relations VP, and which I have his name and number and all his information, and getting ready to contact him. But things went well in that conversation, and one of the letters I sent to the CEO and the president was I not only was expressing the city of Ashland, and really on behalf of Bobby Carpenter and the mayors, Russell and Flatwoods, we all stand ready to assist any way we can to make this move to our area, which has the greatest labor force for small town America that you'll find anywhere, and especially in the steel making industry.
Absolutely.
So he had a great conversation with the labor VP and all, and in his conversation he said, we still can't figure out why AK didn't keep Amanda Furnace going. I mean, these guys were fixated on the ability to pig iron with Amanda Furnace. So holding on to those thoughts, even at this point, and I think the shareholders, their reports came out, and it appears to me, and what little I know about holding shares, but it appears from working over the years in the city and dealing with big companies, little ups and downs that we're going through right now. In what their returns are, they kind of put their heels in the sand sometimes, and I'm hoping that's what's happening here, because I felt like they knew just too much about making this transition with AK, but they knew too much about Amanda Furnace. So I got to keep a hope up for that, and we'll continue to work on that with them.
Yeah, I don't think it's a dead issue at all. It's just been stopped right now.
Well, they said at this point they don't need Amanda Furnace and the Ashland work. So, but I think we talked in here one day, and if not, I'll just bring it up to you. And I met a couple men, actually brothers from the Cincinnati area, who have bought 2 other AK properties in the past. They have a really good relationship with AK. They were in town going to make a bid on that property. I'm going to be calling them. I put a call in the other day. They travel quite a bit, but they actually came in, and then I took them to the coke plant property, which I think I broke it on here. I talked. Actually, before I took office this time, I met with union leadership and I met with AK leadership, and then I worked hard on maybe acquiring the coke property for the city, and not necessarily to sell it, but to give it to the most jobs that would come into that river and rail site, 142 acres and all that. Well, I told them about it. They became interested in that. They went up there and went over the whole property. So they're interested in both those properties. So I'm going to try to resurrect with them. Maybe they can make some kind of a deal with Cleveland Cliffs if they can get something going.
Absolutely.
I mean, I always see,
possibilities.
Pile of horse manure. I'm looking for the cute pony.
Yeah.
That's got to be around here somewhere.
Got to be here somewhere. That's right.
And I think we have to be positive, and we'll continue to. With Brady, I had heard rumors, as well as other public officials in particular, maybe some other people, over the last 6 months or so, that there was going to be a change out there in leadership. I had no specifics, but, it was dragging on a lot further than we hoped or anticipated.
Right.
You and I have been talking
No,
about it for
absolutely.
2.5 years. But it's a lot of money to raise, and my biggest concern now is not how this is going to shake out. It's going to be pretty black and white when we get all the records together. One suing the other, and they've got a date set, I think, in April or May in Delaware to hear the arguments and all. But beyond that, I think the biggest disappointment for me is you're not going to be able to raise much money
While this is going on.
While this is going on, and which now what we were hoping would be started a year and a half ago. It was about when we did a groundbreaking out there with the governor, that they said be 2.5, 3 years to complete the plant. So now here we are in 2020. So if everything goes great and we get through this travail, you're still looking at maybe 3 years before people actually get employed there. Although my greatest hope initially was 1,000 contract laborers. A lot of my labor people in this area were going to be employed for quite a while, which is a great thing. But and that's the only glimmer of hope there to get those jobs. But the kids that have been in the program, ACTC put a program together. There's an article in there today that they're trying to work some things out.
Which is good.
Yeah, and the plan. I think the company. I haven't met the new chief, running things, but I have heard he knows aluminum, he knows aluminum plants. They're going to try to right a lot of wrong things they felt like had been done. All of us, obviously I've run a gauntlet of friends of mine, business friends and all that, who are hoping and praying that this works, but have had deep reservations. They have a lot of people. But I still got to hold hope for that.
Sure.
And there have been a lot of money invested, a lot of money raised, and hopefully it will work out. I mean, as city officials, we're still in their corner. Whatever we can continue to do, we're working on water lines, sewer lines for that area, which would have been a major boon for the citizens of Ashland, because we were going to. It was going to be big business for us, which would keep the rates very low for our people.
Yeah.
So at this point, we just got that on hold.
Right. OLBH, of course, announcing they were going to close at the end of September. Then that got moved now to definitely April 30th is going to be the last day as a hospital. A lot of other parts of OLBH already starting to shut down, but that's mainly because people are they're getting jobs elsewhere, and there's not going to be enough people. But King's Daughters, though, is going to get more beds. I mean, that's for certain. So they're growing as OLBH goes away. King's Daughters is growing. Article in the paper yesterday from the CEO there saying we're not going anywhere. We're not for sale. So to try to give people some confidence, I think in the healthcare. Healthcare is a tricky business right now because there are a lot of big players and big corporations who like to either buy out or merge or whatever you want to call it. I have to think, though, Mayor, and I want to get your opinion on it, that something's going to happen with the Bellefonte property.
Yeah. Well, in the debate last night, that even the comments came up that there are hospitals closing all over the country.
Yeah.
And it's primarily due to health care costs and what hospitals can. We're a not-for-profit here at King's Daughters. A lot of them are for-profit, are also not-for-profit, and with liability insurance on physicians, and a lot of hospitals have been hiring physicians. And we have quite a few at King's Daughters that are actually King's Daughters employees and all that. But there's just a huge gamut of problems with healthcare industry. And it's just not here. You feel it much worse here because we're a small area. And those employees, I feel for all of them that won't get jobs. But one good thing about it is if they're willing to move somewhere, health occupations, offers more openings than any other, trade or
and there's a lot around here. You got Cabell, you got St. Mary's, you got SOMC, you got Pikeville. I mean, it's a little bit away, but if you're willing to relocate or drive, there's lots of opportunities.
I will say that the current interim president here at Bellefonte's called me 2 or 3 times. Jason Asick, he's a really nice young man from Cincinnati. I haven't met him, but he's trying to keep the city government posted. Here's where we are. And when the article came out, their last day would be September 30th. About 2 or 3 weeks later, he called me. I was out of town. He tracked me down, got me, called me a couple days ago. to give me updates. And he said, you're going to see in the paper that, first of all, the call was, it's probably going to be sooner than that, because exactly what you said, people were leaving much quicker than they thought they would. They haven't done this, at least around here, before. And then he called me back to tell me it would be potentially the end of March, certainly the end of April, and then he wanted me to know it before it came in the paper. Well, I've met with Christy Whitlatch, the CEO, and at length, and then she put a nice page in the paper explaining we're not going anywhere. We're absorbing as many as we can because we're looking for the influx of patients also, and they have already hired a number of physicians, and I think they're well over 300 nurses, occupational people like that. And I had lunch yesterday with the chairman of the board at the hospital to try to get more information, because that's our number one employer.
Oh, absolutely.
They're going to get bigger. They, in fact, my first questions with Christy Whitlatch, who's been a longtime friend, also was, can we take a large number of patients starting to move into King's Daughters Hospital? She said absolutely. They had a lot of rooms they'd been doing, different kind of testing in and so forth, a therapy that they're already converting them, rapidly to take the patients in. People who felt really good and used Bellefonte Hospital for years and years, I feel for them. Your health care should be number one thing in every family's mind.
Yeah.
And, where you go and getting that comradeship with your doctor, and they know you well and all that. But, I just want to say that that couldn't be helped, and it wasn't. I mean, there were rumors King's Daughters was selling out to Mercy also, and I think Christy tried to clear that up in yesterday's paper, that they're not for sale and they're alive and well and moving forward. But I have been so proud of that health center there and the heart center and everything about it. We have outstanding world-class physicians and care, and it's beautiful. We can get it done there, and people come from many, many miles around to our hospital for the kind of care that we give. So our number one employer, and there's a reason why they're successful, is because they do a good job up there.
Absolutely. We're going to take a short break. Be right back after this word from McMeans Pharmacy.
McMeans Pharmacy has 2 locations to serve you. Stop by 29th Street and Carter Avenue in Ashland, or in their South Point location. Call McMeans Pharmacy in Ashland at 325-8400. In South Point, call 740-377-2677. For all your pharmacy needs, McMeans Pharmacy is the place for you. McMeans Pharmacy in Ashland and South Point. In Ashland, call 325-8400. In South Point, call 377-2677.
Back with the mayor of Ashland, Steve Gilmore. Before we run out of time, some people have asked me about the old Ashland Oil building where we used to be, and I know that some money was allocated from that tax program that the city got involved in. Any word on when bids are going to be led, or when any work's going to be done? That building's going to come down and construction start on a parking garage / conference center. I know it might have to be done in stages, but
yeah. Well, I hope and pray that it happens during my last year in office, because we've been working on it since I've been in office. But we did get close to $7 million, promised now from the state. We estimated somewhere in there. Obviously, we were hoping for more, but that's based on their projections of what all the hotel and the new businesses going into Ashland, and there are more every day, would bring in new revenues. So the old Ashland Oil building, it's on the front burner. We are working on some grants and with some other benevolent organizations in the immediate area to try to help us with a removal of that building, because every dime we can save on demolition and all will be directed towards the parking garage and the convention space. So it's alive and well, and assure you the mayor of Ashland is met with the city manager yesterday about this very issue to try to get our ducks in a row. We've gotten some informal quotes on what it would take to take that building down and haul it out of here. And I guess, as anybody would know, or that looked at any kind of construction of late anywhere and tearing buildings down, it's the major expenses, the asbestos that's in that building.
Oh, absolutely.
If you just take it down and haul it off, it would be a very, very minor part of this, but it isn't. So, and it's right here in the heart of town. We're working on it, and we're hoping, and I told the manager yesterday, we need to move on this within the next 4 or 5 months, we hope, because we need to get that parking area, and of course, let's don't forget the 16th Street.
Getting ready to ask you, that was going to be my final question.
Well,
things are really advancing there because they've been working all along.
Yeah. When you are fortunate.
I see them working in the rain.
We've had, over my many years in city government, we've had construction companies, they come from wherever, and they maybe don't do as good a work we hope. They don't do it quickly, the whole thing. Well, we were so pleased. A couple things happened with this. We rebid it this time. Bid it last year higher than we planned to pay, and it was going to be a stretch. We rebid and saved $300,000 or $400,000 on that bid, and we get a local company, Debcon, great reputation, have been around. I can remember early years as a city commissioner, and another lifetime for me. Debcon do all the streetscape downtown here, and they've turned in more to a major federal contractor and on military bases and federal properties. So, but they're here in Ashland, and Dave Osborne's son is running it now, but Dave has got a heart for the whole region. All these guys, I meet with them once a month. In my initial meeting with these people, even the ones that weren't from around here, I say, guys, this is a historic project here in the middle of your downtown, your major city, and it's going to be watched, and people are going to be proud of it. We want to be proud for many, many years. You got to leave your mark that's the right, and they're pumped up about it. They truly are. So, it's going to stretch all the way to Carter, and then we're hoping at some point we're going to head down 16th Street to Greenup Avenue. It's going to be an unbelievable showplace, and it fits right in. We were doing it anyway, but then when Mr. Brooks came to town about revitalizing your downtown, this is one of the things you got to have, and this is going to be bigger, more accessible to more things. Movable furniture, stage, fountains that you're not going to believe, and it's going to be a showplace for the whole tri-state.
Is there a target date for that?
Oh yeah, it should be done by September. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, one other thing, Sue Dowdy sent me a couple texts last night. That new Kentucky Monthly magazine came out, 20 best cities to live and visit. Ashland, Kentucky's in there, and they have a big article and a picture of and they call them the Ashland statues now, that this is attraction you can't miss. You got to go there. Things are coming together. It's not going to be overnight, but when you get something like that donated to the city, that immediate gets statewide attention, and we get this plaza done. The old Steckler's building is completed, and the old central office is down and supposed to be luxury condos over there on that piece of property that was just falling in disrepair. A lot of little sites in Ashland are going to look totally different.
Absolutely. And, of course, the hotel's added a lot. And
it is
so many
what it
things.
is. It's drawing them in.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Mayor, for coming by. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
That's
Mayor Steve Gilmore of Ashland, and he's with us every couple of weeks on Wednesday mornings right here on The Breakfast.